Yeah, Tessa, some parents here asked me to look into their concerns, and what I discovered was pretty unsettling. Within several hundred feet in both directions here, this Borellis daycare shares a neighborhood with at least 19 sex offenders, 18 of which live in the same building. So what's the law about how close they can be to this daycare? Well, it depends on who you ask.
I don't think these schools are aware that they're here. And I just don't feel comfortable even walking to the little store on the corner.
This Borellis dad said he'd rather not use his name on TV, but tells us he noticed something in his neighborhood that just didn't seem legal. 19 sex offenders living a few hundred feet from a daycare.
It just concerns me that our city's not doing nothing about it.
They got you,
when they should.
It's particularly upsetting for him,
especially being a victim.
He says he suffered sexual abuse as a child.
Who do we depend on?
Depends who you ask. Albuquerque Code says sex offenders must register at a permanent address at least 1,000 feet from schools like this daycare. So I walked it out, and less than 900 feet from Joyas del Futuro daycare, I was here, the dorm, a community living complex home to 18 registered sex offenders. So, how's it possible? Well, we asked. APD says they can't enforce the 1,000 feet ordinance because the Bernalillo Sheriff's Office is in charge of sex offenders. But the Sheriff's Office says only APD can enforce city code. Then halfway through the day, both agencies came up with an answer that made more sense. The dorm is run by the state, they said, thus exempt from the code.
Oh, it shouldn't be exempt for nothing.
And guess what? It isn't. The owner of the dorm tells us she receives no funding from the state and operates as a completely private business. So our question is right back where we started, unanswered. Both APD and BCSO tonight say neither of them are responsible for enforcing this ordinance. Neither agency can tell me why they thought the dorms were run by the state. We did, however, talk to the owner of that complex. She says she was here way before this daycare, and we have confirmed that through property records. She also says she's always welcomed registered sex offenders to live in her complex. It is an affordable option here. She also works with their parole officers to make sure they are on the up and up. Meantime, we are going to keep pressing APD and BCSO for answers as to exactly how this is enforced and why it's not being currently enforced. Reporting live in Borellis tonight, I'm Caleb James, KOB Eyewitness News 4.
We just got some viewer video.